Oheka Castle, the second largest private home in the United States, stands in regal splendor on Long Island's Gold Coast. Hi everyone, Ken here. Hit that subscribe button and let's explore this house. This grand mansion was the vision of Otto Hermann Kahn, a German-born investment banker and philanthropist who rose to prominence in early 20th century New York. Kahn had achieved great success in finance, particularly in reorganizing railroad companies, which earned him immense wealth and a place among America's financial elite. With his fortune, he initially built a country estate in Morristown, New Jersey called Cedar Court, intending to join the ranks of high society there. However, Kahn found himself socially sidelined due to cultural and religious barriers. At the time, his family was not allowed to join Morristown's exclusive social clubs or golf courses. Frustrated by this exclusion and seeking a community where he and his family would be more welcome, Kahn decided to start anew. Fate also intervened in 1905 when a fire completely destroyed Cedar Court shortly after it was completed. The loss of his New Jersey mansion, combined with the social challenges he faced, prompted Kahn to embark on an ambitious quest to build an even greater home in a more accepting environment. Determined to create his own bastion of culture and hospitality, Kahn purchased over 440 acres on Long Island in 1914. The new estate would be called Oheka, an acronym of his name, Otto Hermann Kahn. Before construction even began, Kahn spent 2 years having workers reshape the very landscape. They constructed an enormous artificial hill to elevate the site, ensuring the mansion would sit on the highest point of his property with commanding views of Cold Spring Harbor and the surrounding estates. Kahn was adamant that his dream home would not suffer the same fate as Cedar Court. He hired the renowned architects Delano and Aldrich to design the mansion using a modern steel and concrete structure, making it one of the first fully fireproof residential buildings in the country. Construction of Oheka Castle took place between 1914 and 1919, and the result was nothing short of astonishing. When it was completed, the chateau-esque mansion encompassed 109,000 square feet with 127 rooms, making it the largest private home in New York and second largest in the nation, surpassed only by Biltmore Estate in North Carolina. Kahn spared no expense. It cost an estimated $11 million at the time, around $351 million in today's dollars. The estate was a self-contained world of luxury that required a staff of 126 servants to maintain, an almost 1-to-1 ratio of staff to rooms. Inside, Oheka Castle featured opulent amenities that rivaled the grandest palaces of Europe. There were 39 fireplaces spread throughout the manor to warm the vast rooms. A magnificent central staircase in the entry was modeled after the famed exterior staircase of France's Château de Fontainebleau, lending the home a distinctly European elegance. Kahn also installed a huge ballroom measuring over 72 feet in length for lavish parties and a grand dining room with an 18-foot ceiling for formal dinners. Every inch of the interior was crafted to exude opulence and splendor, from the wood-paneled library, which even contained a hidden secret passage behind a bookshelf. The exterior of Oheka was equally spectacular. Famed landscape designers, the Olmsted brothers, were commissioned to create the gardens. They laid out formal gardens complete with terraces, 8 reflecting pools, and ornate fountains aligned on an axial plan in front of the mansion. Manicured hedges and rows of linden trees bordered the drive and walkways. Beyond the immediate gardens, the estate boasted recreational facilities that were almost unheard of for a private residence. Kahn built an 18-hole private golf course on the grounds, designed by noted golf architect Seth Rayner. There were also tennis courts, an indoor swimming pool, sprawling greenhouses, orchards, stables, and even a private airstrip. In essence, Oheka Castle was a world unto itself, a place where the Kahn family and their guests would want for nothing. During the 1920s, Oheka Castle became a glamorous social hub. Otto Kahn, along with his wife Addie and their 4 children, used Oheka as a summer home and weekend retreat, entertaining on a grand scale. The Kahns hosted elaborate soirees, musical performances, and charity events, inviting New York's high society, artists, and European nobility to experience the estate. The estate is often cited as an inspiration for the lavish fictional mansion of Jay Gatsby in F. Scott Fitzgerald's novel The Great Gatsby, which was set on Long Island's Gold Coast in the same era. The castle's reputation as a symbol of extravagant wealth and beauty was well established. In fact, by 1930, the image of Otto Kahn himself, with his distinguished mustache and top hat, is said to have inspired the iconic Mr. Monopoly character, just one of the many testaments to Kahn's image as one of the era's quintessential rich men. The golden years of Oheka as a private residence, however, were relatively short-lived. Otto Kahn passed away in 1934, ending an era of glittering parties at the castle. After his death, the family had less use for the massive estate. Maintaining such a property was expensive, and the world was changing. The Great Depression had set in, and the opulent lifestyle of the 1920s was fading. Several years later, in 1939, Kahn's widow and children sold Oheka. The once private palace then entered a period of steady decline as it cycled through different owners and purposes that were a far cry from its past grandeur. The property was sold to the New York City Sanitation Department's Welfare Fund and transformed into a retirement home for municipal sanitation workers. During World War II, the estate was further repurposed as a training school for merchant marine radio operators. By the late 1940s, Oheka's fate took another turn. In 1948, the Eastern Military Academy purchased the castle and a remaining 23-acre parcel of the estate. The Academy's tenure preserved the building from demolition, but it significantly altered the property. To suit its needs as a school, the Academy bulldozed the exquisite formal gardens and subdivided many of the elegant rooms into barrack-style quarters and classrooms. The Military Academy occupied Oheka Castle for 3 decades, but eventually it too closed its doors in 1979. After the school's closure, Oheka was left abandoned from 1979 to 1983. Those years were extremely hard on the castle. With no caretakers, the vacant building deteriorated rapidly. Rain and weather seeped in through broken windows and leaks in the roof. Paint peeled, and vandals took advantage of the solitude. In a cruel twist, the fireproof design that Kahn had insisted on was put to the test repeatedly during this period. The abandoned castle became a target for arsonists and thrill-seekers, with several documented arson attempts occurring in those 4 years alone. Still, by the early 1980s, Oheka Castle was in an alarming state of disrepair. It had no functioning electricity or plumbing, and most windows and doors were gone, and graffiti covered the once grand halls. Many of Long Island's other Gilded Age mansions had been demolished by this point, and Oheka seemed perilously close to the same fate. The story of Oheka might have ended there as a forgotten ruin if not for a dramatic rescue. In 1984, a Long Island developer purchased the devastated estate. He embarked on what would become the largest private residential restoration project in U.S. history to save Oheka. The task was monumental. In the first years, workers hauled away thousands of tons of debris, some 300 dumpsters worth, to clear the building of collapsed plaster, rubbish, and overgrown vegetation. They stabilized the structure and began painstakingly recreating the details of Kahn's opulent design. Using the original architectural plans and old photographs, artisans rebuilt stone balustrade and staircases, replaced or restored over 200 missing windows and doors, and repaired the roof with 4,000 new slate tiles sourced from the same Vermont quarry that Kahns had used decades before. The once ruined gardens were similarly resurrected according to the Olmsted brothers' original drawings. New trees were planted to replace those lost, the reflecting pools were dug out and refilled, and fountains were restored to working order. Room by room, wall by wall, Oheka Castle was brought back to life over many years of dedicated work. By 1987, just a few years into the restoration, the mansion was stable enough to host its first post-restoration wedding on the property, an event that signaled the castle's return as a place of celebration. As more sections of the house and gardens were restored, Oheka Castle gradually regained its former glory, transforming from a derelict structure back into a breathtaking estate. Today, Oheka Castle is once again a jewel of Long Island, now operating as a luxury hotel, event space, and historic site. After decades of restoration, about 85% of the estate and its formal gardens have been fully returned to their 1920s splendor, with ongoing efforts to complete the remaining areas. The mansion has attracted major stars to utilize it as a backdrop for filming locations, including everyone from Taylor Swift to Mr. Beast, just as Oheka did in the past with stars like Charlie Chaplin. The saga of Oheka, from glory to ruin and back again, remains a compelling chapter in American architectural history, one that is thankfully still being written. And with that, I'll turn it over to you. Let me know your thoughts on Oheka Castle down below in the comments section. And while you're there, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss an exciting episode of This House.